I always thought that there was more than one movie in this idea. Gnomeo and Juliet, the concept of taking, the greatest love story ever known and playing out with some ridiculous, stupid garden gnomes was a great fun idea at the center, but it clearly could evolve into other things by utilizing different kinds of stories, not just the classic Romeo and Juliet, but other classic stories, other classic genres. So in my mind, like opening up the kind of gnome universe to different types of storytelling and genres and stories is always part of the plan. The scope of this movie is much broader and bigger, and that's because it's not a romantic comedy anymore. It's an action-adventure movie, so the scale of that story needs to be told over a different environment. So the scope of this movie is all over, from a gnome-sized point of view, modern London, and an action detective chase story across that environment. Sherlock's character in this movie follows a long line of many, 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 many Sherlock characters in movies. I think he is the most portrayed fictional character in a movie in history. So it's quite a key choice as to what we do with that. The concept of the movie and the first movie works when the characters completely believe in the drama in which they're being placed. So in Gnomeo and Juliet, the love was real, the conflict between the gardens was real, and so in this movie, in Sherlock Gnomes, it was important that Sherlock Gnomes completely believed in himself and the story that was going on around him in order for the drama to work. The most significant new gnomes in this movie are obviously Sherlock Gnomes and Watson. And they've been in London for quite a while, solving some very complex gnome cases. And Sherlock is the sworn protector of all of London's garden gnomes. That is his raison d'etre, and it's what gets tested through our movie. If you're going to do another movie, you need to move the characters into a different place. So to take our characters and to push them into new experiences, which is what we want to do, a logical extension of that is to get them out of their comfort zone, which is the gardens, and force them to get around the human world, which is a very dangerous place for them to be, and move across London. So that was a big part of wanting to change up the second movie from the first movie. And in this genre, if you're going to have an action adventure movie, staying in one location is not necessarily a very good thing to do. What you want to do is you want to be, pushing your characters out there, having them experience lots of different challenges as they make their way, across London. In our case, to try and find a solution to the problem. I think Johnny Depp brought only what Johnny Depp can bring, because he is absolutely unique in the way that he approaches characters, the way that he performs his interactions. He's a very specific talent. I don't think there's a character that Johnny plays that anybody else would play in the same way, and that's why he is so unique as an actor. Mary J. as Irene delivers an amazing song and dance number, which is a unique and unexpected moment in the movie. The music for the movie philosophically was slightly different, but we wanted to have this one really big number. And Elton wrote the song, Mary picked it up and interpreted it in her own way, and that has come together with the animation of her character and the world, I think, in a truly unique way. I think it's a very special moment in the movie. I first met John Stevenson, the director, about five or maybe even 6 years ago, to start talking about this film. And the reason why we started having that conversation was because of Kung Fu Panda, because of the mix of action, adventure, and comedy that he managed to pull off in that movie, which was very similar to the direction that we eventually wanted our movie to take. What John very quickly made clear and attracted me to how his vision of the movie would work was that he has an integrity about what he wanted to do. He wanted to make sure that the movie on every level had deep thought going into it, even though it's funny, even though it's meant to be, a piece of family entertainment. I believe that any truly great piece of family entertainment, if it's even just broad comedy, has intelligence and thought rooted in it. In the first movie, music was a very integral part of the story, and as a romantic comedy musical, it was relatively easy to work out how to integrate character musical moments into the film. This movie, as a different genre of action adventure movie, had a different challenge to it. We wanted to keep the signature of Elton's music and its connection with the movie because it's such a big part of the world. But we had to switch it up a little bit in order to make it really feel integrated into our film. So we did this by a number of different things. He wrote a couple of new songs for the movie, the one that Mary J. Blige sings, which is a big moment in the movie. And we've also taken an approach with some of his classic songs to bring in artists to rework them a little bit in order to try and make them fit better within the action modern London movie that we're making. I think audiences can expect to be taken on a different kind of journey to the one they expected in this movie. I think people might assume it's going to be the same as the first movie. I think they're going to find the same things they loved about the first movie with the characters, but I think they're going to be taken on a different kind of story in a different kind of world and hopefully come out going, I love it even more now.